Sense and Sensibility was the first book that Jane Austen published. Pride and Prejudice was the first book that she wrote. Pride and Prejudice is the most famous of her books and the bestseller. But Sense and Sensibility has also been made into a movie, which is quite popular as well. So it's using the same type of title as Pride and Prejudice, so two abstract nouns like that, and also each contrasts with the other. Pride and Prejudice, you're talking about the contrast between the real person, who they really are, and what people think of them. Sense and Sensibility, similarly, two contrasting things, but they need a little explaining. Sense in Jane Austen's day is much the same as in today's day. In other words, you talk about a sensible person, or you say that's common sense, or that makes sense. So it's what is rational, what is coherent, what is easy to understand. Sensibility is not really used today in the same sense, more perhaps sensitivity rather than sensibility. But what it means in Jane Austen's day is more the emotional side of perception of things. So I think the way to characterize it in the contemporary English would be heart and head. So some people are practical, they're calculating, they figure things out. That is the head. The heart is the emotion, where you are moved by love or passion. We have in this book a number of key characters. The two key characters are two sisters, just like Jane Austen herself and her older sister Cassandra. Eleanor is the older sister, and she is the rational one. The mother is more romantic and impulsive. Eleanor is the one who often says to her mother, calm down. Like the mother will happily spend a lot of money on buying a house or something. They didn't have the money. Eleanor would say, look, you can't afford that, and would rein the mother in. Then her younger sister, only 17, Marianne, she is also very romantic, passionate like the mother. But Eleanor also has to suggest things to her, to control her, advise her. Eleanor meets a very sensible guy called Edward, and they get on very well. And they go through all kinds of turmoil in the course of the book, and they gradually get warmer and warmer towards each other. Edward is already engaged to somebody else and never tells Eleanor or his mother. So this whole thing has to be resolved. And in the course of the book, it is resolved because the person that Edward was engaged to actually marries somebody else. So then Edward is free, as it were, and the whole thing comes out into the open, and Edward and Eleanor do get married. In the case of her sister Marianne, there is a situation rather like a romantic novel. They're running down the slope in the rain, and Marianne slips and twists her ankle, and this guy, Willoughby, very handsome, very sweet-spoken guy, actually literally picks up Marianne and helps her down the hill, and that is the start of this wild, passionate romance. But you know, in those days, talking about the Regency period of English history around 1800, at that time, passion didn't mean kissing or anything like that. It meant like cutting a lock of her hair and keeping it and kissing the lock of her hair. Nevertheless, it was clear enough to Marianne and to Eleanor and to the mother that Willoughby was heading towards a marriage situation. And only halfway through the book and a bit further on in time did they discover that Willoughby didn't have enough money for all the things he wanted to do, so he was always short of money. And also, he had had a couple of affairs with girls, and actually, as a result of that, he had a daughter already. But Marianne is still passionately in love with him. In the end, it seems that Willoughby did love Marianne. He was not just trying to use her, but he had these character problems which would have made him a very poor match for Marianne. And in the end, he got so short of money that he had to marry an heiress to pick up some more money. Now, there is another character in this book, Colonel Brandon. He's 35. And Marianne starts by saying, oh, he's too old. You see, all the ages were different in those days. Life expectancy was about half what it is now. So 35 was old in those, 40 was very ancient. Brandon is a gentle, kind, sensible guy. Willoughby and Marianne despise him. But over time, gradually, he patiently continues to admire Marianne and keeps steadily thinking about her and looking after her. And in the end, they get married. What Jane Austen is saying in this book really is that don't try being just all head, all calculation. And don't try to be all passion, all romance. You need both. That's what she's saying. That's her message in this book. And it's beautifully written and wonderful mind that she has to understand human nature and to express it.